Hey everybody, just wanted to take a quick few minutes, actually not super quick. This is going to be one of the longer form updates in terms of what's going on with Tropical Storm Isaias. And so it's going to have some local impacts here, mostly Wednesday, but wanted to talk a little bit about that with you. So you should be able to submit comments. I should be able to see them on my screen. If not on my screen, I've got my iPad open here with me, and so hopefully that's working. I want to make sure I do have sound. I've been having some issues with it. Local impacts here, mostly Wednesday, but wanted to talk a little bit about. Okay, I do have sound, so that's good. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, so anyway, so basically what we're talking about here is Isaias. As we actually, before we even do that, I want to talk a little bit about today, because we have a tornado watch up right at the moment. So I wanted to talk quickly about that before we actually get into even the tropical storm. So I want to pop up on the screen here for you some information about, let's see here. Okay, that should be working there. That's where theoretically my Facebook messages should screen should come up. So if you take a look, we basically have a tornado watch. We're looking at a little bit later. Our thunderstorm should come through. We've got some activity just starting to build here, and we're going to look. We can take a quick look at some satellite imagery and some temperature issues here, showing you why. So we've got this warm front that's sort of moving through. That was sort of the rain that came through just a couple hours ago, and this really warm, humid, warm patch of air. We're not going to get enough sun to really get in that. But what will happen is that we will get enough of that will happen to our west that will help build some strong thunderstorms that could race in our direction. I think tornadoes are pretty much out of the realm of real possibility here, but we could see some gusty thunderstorms later on this afternoon and through the early evening hours. So just keep an eye out for that. I don't think they're going to be real widespread, but there's definitely a chance for it. And to our west, there's certainly there's enough dynamics in the atmosphere that there could be a quick spin up of a tornado in more of the favored spots, kind of like the near Albany and kind of some of the Hudson River Valley and things like that, where there's more of a chance of that happens more often. And here's just a quick look at satellite that's showing you where the peaks of sun are, just enough to our west to give a little bit of extra lift, and you can start to see the thunderstorms popping in the middle of that. So it's super soupy out there, where dew points are in the 70s, so there's plenty of moisture around for that. Okay, but you came not for that. You really came for, whoops, that's the wrong button. You came for a discussion about the tropical storm. So if we look at the upper level, this tells a story. So here, our tropical storm is just off the coast of Florida. We're going to take a look at a bunch of the satellite imagery of it here in the next few minutes. It's not that impressive there. But what we also have is a pretty vigorous front, maybe the strongest kind of frontal boundary we've had moving through really in the last month. We've basically these have been kind of dying as they came across the country. And what this is going to do is it's going to catch Isaias and also combine it with its own moisture to send a lot of moisture in our direction, which is ultimately mostly a good thing, because if you haven't noticed, it's been real dry. And unlike the last time we had a tropical storm system come through, this time I think we are pretty much guaranteed to get a good soaking rain. The question is it going to cause any kind of quick flooding issues, flash flooding kind of issues? These wouldn't be like big river overflows, but it would be the kind of culverts and things like that issues. And there's definitely a chance for that. We're going to have to keep an eye on that kind of stuff on Wednesday. So let's take a quick look at a few other things that kind of help show the story here. Let's look at this one, which shows us our satellite imagery. So you can see this actually, the satellite imagery, just the visible satellite. This is why sometimes visible, as pretty pictures as the visible give you, they're not always real indicative of what's going on. This looks real healthy on visible imagery, but if you take just a half a second and look at the infrared imagery, we're going to see that this is not nearly as healthy a storm as it looks like. This has been a storm that hasn't quite known what it wants to do. It came over the Dominican Republic as kind of a medium strength tropical storm, emerged and looked really healthy, which was it was disconcerting because it was barreling towards the coast of Florida, and eventually it's going to make landfall probably in North Carolina as well. It was looking kind of ominous, but it's kind of been sheared. It's got some strong southwesterly shear that's basically pushed all the thunderstorm cloud tops off. So this bright white that you can see here, and you can see it better even on the, here's the infrared water vapor imagery. You can see all of this deep convection, all of these lighter shades of green and things like that. The storm center itself is actually kind of down in here. And then we've got everything's being pushed off to the north of it and then to the east of it. That's meant a few things. One, it's meant that for Florida, the coast of Florida, even though it's making a pretty close pass, it really has not caused problems for the east coast of Florida. The Bahamas got a lot more rain, and this is still, it's a 65 mile an hour tropical storm. The winds are not really the big issue here. This is really how much rain could it drop. And so Florida's basically been spared. This will continue to stay off the coast, which will help maintain its strength, but there's a lot of shear issues keeping it from strengthening as it heads up. And so basically what we're looking for is just as it heads towards the Carolinas, it's going to maintain strength, and it's mostly just adding moisture onto this front. You can just see the beginning of the front out here, kind of over Alabama and Tennessee and into Kentucky, and this is all going to eventually kind of combine and head up the coast. Show you even a lower level satellite. Here's like the real low level, and you can't even on the low level really pick out. It's kind of obscured by this outflow on top, but the circulation is way down here. It's way off. It's not a symmetrical storm at all, which is just a sign of not really that healthy of a tropical system. Matter of fact, here's the radar. You can kind of see here's your circulation's probably here on radar, and even the rain shield's been pushed a little bit off to the north and east here. So, okay, what do the models do with it, and what does that mean for us? Because this is kind of the big question for us. All of the models now put us healthily in the rain. There is differences on exactly how much rain and how much of a breeze. We're going to get a little bit of wind, but nothing to write home about. 20, 30 mile an hour gusts, nothing that should even take down tree limbs, probably. But what we are going to see is a lot of rain. So the American model, that's the GFS. I don't usually show you models, but like I said, this is especially model slides. But because this is a little bit longer of a discussion about what's going on with the weather, I thought I would get you inside on what actually happens here sometimes. And so you can see this is Tuesday at about noon on Tuesday. And I'm going to show you all the models at the same point, and that really pinpoints the differences between them. And it has mostly to do with speed. So the American model, this is the fastest model that we've got. It's got the storm almost just off the coast of New Jersey by Tuesday at about noon, kind of headed in our direction. We've already, the rain that we'd be seeing by then is some showers associated with the front and some enhanced moisture. And you can see there's a slug of heavy rain here. The Canadian model, also pretty similar, a little further south. We're still in the storm would still be kind of in the Maryland, right near the Maryland-Pennsylvania border. It's a little bit more to the west, and you can see again we're still already getting some showers Tuesday. This is about, like I said, Tuesday at about noon as it heads north into our area. This is more of a short-term model. This is the NAM, which is like the American short range model. And this is a little hard to see, but essentially the storm's right over DC. So a little bit slower. And then the European model, which is the ECMWF, has its slowest model yet, still over the Carolinas. These are all the same time frame. So the track is all very similar, except basically what that means in terms of actual track. Let me pull up a better view here for you. Is the GFS and the Canadian model want to bring the storm basically right over the top of us, or just slightly to the east of us, which would definitely put us into a heavy slug of moisture, probably 2 to maybe as much as 4 inches of rain in a 12-hour period. 4 inches of rain in a 12-hour period, especially if you got like 3 inches in a 6-hour period, would cause some significant river rises and also could cause some minor flooding issues. I don't think, even under a worst case scenario, I don't think we're going to get any severe flooding out of this, but it could cause things like, it could cause some culverts to overflow, and we'd have to keep an eye on things like the West River, just how fast it could come up. It would go right back down again. We are really low. The rivers can take a lot of water right now, even our small rivers, but still bears watching. With the ECMWF, or the European model, goes a little, because it's slower, it gives the front a little more time to clear through, and so it pushes it just a little more off to the east. And that would mean that we would still get plenty of heavy rain. We'd probably still get 1 to 3 inches of rain, but we would almost certainly have no flooding issues with that. And the NAM, the mesoscale model, actually doesn't quite get here yet, but it looks like it's going to take a track maybe just slightly east of the Canadian and the North American model, but west of the ECMWF. So if I had to guess, and looking at like where the front is positioned, and I would lean a little more east of like this storm track probably, but I think still gets us into the heavier slug of moisture, particularly eastern counties. So particularly, I think we're looking at like Windham and Windsor County probably, and certainly the counties to the west of us still. I mean, Bennington and Rutland County certainly could see some heavy rain out of this as well. The further west you go, the chance that you don't quite get into the heaviest rain, the better. In terms of impacts, it looks like the heavy rain doesn't really kind of gets here late Tuesday afternoon, or mostly comes overnight on Tuesday into Wednesday. And like I said, that could be as much as 2 to 4, maybe even 5 inches of rain. That would be an absolute high end probably. It's going to be moving relatively quickly at that point. So even though it'll rain heavy, it'll be relatively quick mover. Probably will only rain hard for about 5 hours or about 6 to 10 hours. We could have showers on the front end. If we had more thunderstorm activity on the front end that kind of primed the pump, if we got a couple inches of rain out of some slow-moving thunderstorms on Tuesday, which is possible, then if everything came together, you should keep an eye on it, because if everything came together right, there could be some minor flooding issues. This is not Irene, nothing close to Irene, but it is something to keep an eye out for. And in terms of, for the most part, it's going to be beneficial rain. Wind, I don't think will be a problem at all. Again, we could see a little bit it'll get a little gusty, and at the higher elevations, we could see some 30, 40 mile an hour gusts, but not enough. I wouldn't think any power outages, or very few, caused by this. It's mostly going to be, is there any chance of some small stream splash over and stuff like that. So if you live in a place where there's a culvert or something like that, and you can get a chance to clear that out, if you see some debris in it over the next couple of days, might be a good idea. But in terms of widespread issues, I don't think it's going to be that bad. And we could really use the rain. We could use 4 inches of rain. It'd be nice if it came a little slower, but we could use 4 inches of rain. So yeah, so that's basically what's going on. It's not sure if the questions, I meant to look and see if comments were happening or not. I'm supposed to be able to see that, but now I feel like I'm probably not. I did not get my one comment. And it's still not showing up. Let me try on my phone. Work in progress here. I'd love to be able to do these with a little more live interaction someday as we go forward. So, nope. Slow-moving thunderstorms on Tuesday, which is... All right. Well, I do see the comments on here, but no questions, so that's fine. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them after the video. I am going to do my live forecast tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., and I will certainly focus quite a bit on Isaias, as it is. Like I said, mostly beneficial rain, going to be quite enough to cause issues, and worst case scenario, it's still not big tornado watch going on right now. Like I said, the week looks really nice weather-wise, so after we get through midweek, it should be really nice. We'll talk to you again, see you again soon.